in doing what you do. Check you out, you know all the moves. Check you out, you know all the moves. Since you came, nothing's quite the same. Towing with my heart, playing that game. Since you came, nothing's quite the same.
Central Southampton has a long history of street prostitution, a problem which both the council and the police recognise that traditional law enforcement alone has struggled to reduce. 3D was set up as an alternative approach to help tackle the situation. The Crime Concern Project believes that a multi-agency approach to dealing with these issues is more effective. 3D has been working with street workers since 2003, helping some clients to leave prostitution altogether. Many others have been assisted to significantly reduce their drug and alcohol dependency, as well as cut down on their street work.
Our aim at 3D is to encourage women to leave their chaotic lifestyles by choosing healthier lifestyle options. This is done in a variety of ways, including drop-in, outreach, and ways in which women want to, such as distraction activities.
We go out twice a week, Wednesday and Friday, and we have tea, coffee, sandwiches, you know, chocolate. In the winter, jumpers, blankets, all of that sort of stuff. And we drive around the known areas, and if we see a woman standing on the street, we'll slow down, window down, hi, 3D, you know, do you want anything? Either they wave us on, because you know, they don't want anything, or not, they've only just come out on the street, or yes please, we stop, have a chat, have a drink. We'll hand out a leaflet with drop-in times, telephone numbers, and that sort of stuff. And
we may see you later when we're driving around. We're out and about to about 11.
We'll wave at you, okay,
right.
but flag us down if you need anything. If not, we won't stalk you, okay? Thanks.
I grew up in children's homes from a teenager because my mum used to abuse me physically and emotionally. And then I started getting abused by men as I grew older, physically, emotionally, sexually, every way possible by men actually. So I got married at a young age and had a child, and my marriage didn't work out, so I got married again, but in the meanwhile I was in a relationship. I was getting beaten up by a bloke for 2 years, and then after my second marriage I bumped into an old friend of mine, and she was doing escort work, so she offered me a job.
Main common denominator is that they are all Class A drug users. They have all suffered some sort of abuse in childhood, and are now perhaps wanting to exit that way of life, but don't know how. And that seems, perhaps for people who are outside of the life, you know, a sort of maybe something that can't understand. But actually, when you're caught up in this way of life, it is very difficult to know where to begin to get out of it. Because you're weighed down so heavily by every factor, and you know, and that's hopefully where we come in, and we can start showing them ways that they can start changing their lives.
And then I got introduced to drugs and loads of alcohol, so I started having a drink and drug problem, which masked the past of my life, which only masked it as well. So seeing as many punters as I could a night to supply my habit. My habit is just getting bigger and bigger, and then I couldn't go. I needed, when I took drink, I had to have drugs. When I had drugs, I had to have drinks. So then I got a habit of both at the same time, and I started not seeing my son as much as I used to. Got in a lot of financial difficulty, which I'm still trying to get out of with my landlord. And my health, well, it was appalling. I was in and out of hospital all the time, with problems down below and problems in my stomach and bad chest all the time, things on my face, just things like that. My house is just, well, it's not like it used to be. It used to be really nice and clean, tidy and prestige, and now it's just a docile.
The project workers act as support for the women. They do this in a variety of ways. This can be one-to-one support where they talk to the women, make action plans, do counselling sessions, or distraction activities such as going to the cinema, normal everyday things that we take for granted that these women just can't fit into their chaotic lifestyles. But we do have workers and volunteers here who have been through drug rehabilitation, because a lot of the girls that we see have got drug and alcohol problems. So it's really good that they can actually share their experiences rather than people like myself who are just academically trained in dealing with it.
Other achievements that we go for on a daily basis are building up self-esteem, self-worth, all of that in order to maintain or achieve a healthy lifestyle, so that the clients want to give up all the unhealthy, negative parts of their life.
I felt really nervous when I knocked the door. I didn't know what response I was going to get of anyone. I didn't know who was going to be there and how it's going to be inside, how things are set out and everything. But I come in, it was a nice warm welcome. I got sat down in the middle ring, where away from everybody, and 3D sat down and asked what my problems were, drink and drugs and working and everything else, and to see what I wanted to get out of the project and how they could help me from there.
We have lots of different personalities here in order to fit the personalities of the women, but ultimately it's about acceptance. So if the women feel accepted, then they will work with us. If the women don't feel accepted, then they won't.
Both my parents had problems with substance misuse, so at 6 I was put into care. I went to a lot of different placements, 17 in total, but at 12 I was living in a children's home and was sexually assaulted by another resident. At 14 I was back home living with my mum, but within the year I was drinking, taking drugs and working the streets again. At 16, I had a baby girl. She was taken away straight after she was born. This was for the best. She was adopted, but it is still really hard for me.
The two types of support that we offer are emotional support on a daily basis, because the girls may act very tough, but their majority are very vulnerable. They need a lot of support, a lot of self-boosting, self-esteem, self-worth, a lot of love that they may not have ever received in their life. So you do that so that they end up feeling better about themselves and want to change.
We work very closely with other agencies. We like to provide a holistic approach. We're very lucky that the Vice Squad are very supportive of the work that we do and work with us, because actually these women are victims.
We introduced about 6-7 months ago the dress exchange ethos, where the women can buy 3 items of clothing for £1. You know, these women are human beings like anyone else, and they're not here for pity, they're not charity cases.
It's a lot of support. They can make appointments for me and everything to help me out. They come to court with me, come to all my appointments with me everywhere I need. Support for someone to talk to if I just feel like crying, for a general chat. Pip, my worker, well, couldn't wish for a better one. She comes to my house and that's to check I'm alright, and if they don't hear from me in the morning, 3D as a project, well, someone will actually ring me if they haven't heard from me.
Each client has got a range of different problems and needs, and we'll work on that client one at a time, one day at a time, so we can do the best for them as a person.
3D has been very successful. It's been up and running for 3 years now, and already we've exited 7 women from prostitution. We've also seen a remarkable number of women reduce their drug and alcohol use and therefore reduce their street working use. Linked into this is the fact that actually we're getting women who are not actually street working walking through our doors, but have similar issues such as domestic violence, homelessness, child abuse issues, and other such issues which our street working women have all got, but they just feel they have nowhere else to go, and fortunately we've been able to help support them too.
My responsibility for 3D is I have the pastoral concerns for the women, so if any of the women come in and they've got sort of spiritual needs or spiritual questions, then I'm the person I come and talk to, and also act as a link person with the faith community, so I can direct somebody to another faith community if they want to meet up with someone.
We don't have a specific timescale here, as each client is at a different phase in their own journey. Some of them are a lot closer to the goal that they want to achieve. Others are in severe denial about what they do, the negative effects in their lifestyle. So we again work day by day, step by step with each client.
I met a lad who was selling drugs and he was really violent towards me. I was selling the drugs for him but trying hard to stay off them myself. I wanted to die. At times I thought I was going to die. So I decided I needed to sort my life out.
We could be doing really well, for example, with a girl, and she could be turning up to every appointment, she could be doing everything right for a few weeks, and then she could have a major setback and we have to start all over again. That's completely fine and also completely normal. We really try to emphasise to the girls that we're not going to give up on them, we're not going to be disappointed. We will be very honest with them and say we're not here to support their habit, we're here to support them as a person.
I've stopped working now as a prostitute. I'm just dealing with the drug issues and the alcohol issues. No, I would probably still be working because I wouldn't have the support that I've got to help me run around and get things, even if it is little things like having a hot meal in the daytime, doing your washing, you know, just little things like that, having a fag. Some of the staff smoke, obviously, they don't give you a cigarette. Just little things like that to make your life that little bit less, you know, painful.
With the help of 3D, I was drugs assessed and managed to get into rehab out of Southampton. I'm not drinking, I'm not doing drugs, and I have nice accommodation. I've even done some volunteer work. Before the help from 3D, my life was going nowhere. I was full of aggression, but now I have a more positive outlook on life.
My plans are to be a youth project worker with the help of 3D to push me out the door and get me on my way.
If 3D wasn't here, I think you would see an increase in street prostitution. I think there would be an increase in death amongst street prostitutes because there wouldn't be the support around the substance misuse and the harm minimisation, which is what we do a lot of work around. At the moment, I think we're the only service in Southampton that actually work with these type of women, and we're seeing this by the increase of women who are vulnerable in other ways coming through our door because they're saying, I don't have anywhere else to go, so I need to go somewhere, and you seem to be the place that will accept us and work with us.
Oh, this is my beautiful son Jay, who I was talking about earlier. I had when I was 16. Like I said, we had a few problems when I was younger with Jay and the relationship because of my lifestyle. But since I started to sort myself out, which I think I have, we've managed to get our relationship back together again and get it back on track. And yeah, so Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you've changed a lot, you've improved and you've come off the drugs and the alcohol, and I'm pleased for you about that, because in the past you became part of, in the past my mum became a part of a drug feud and heavy alcohol, a heavy alcoholic, and I'm glad that she's come off the drink, off the drugs, because it's better for our health and it's better for my mum and it's better for me as well, because it makes my mum feel secure, it makes me feel more insecure because I know my mum's better, basically.
Thank you very much. Crying out. Yeah.